people used to just, in the old days, they would just take their sock and rip it off and then hang it. Isn't that gross? They just rip off their sock and then hang it from the tree.
I don't know if they ever did that.
They did. Looks like oatmeal.
You know it does.
A little bit not, though.
Okay, we're gonna go out and feed the chickens this morning. It has been cold out, and we've been trying the new light bulb in there for 2-3 days, and it's been working really good. The system's working, the timer's working. Look at these, they're all hungry. They all want this, don't ya? You want this, don't ya? Come and get it. Chook, 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 chook. So they really like this feed when I wet it down. Watch this. They just go to town, and it's not just because they're hungry. Even when I did this with the same feed, but I just put it in dry, they would go to it, but not like this. And the reason I started doing that is because that feed that I buy, I pay a premium for, because it's local, it's from Ohio, and it's non-GMO, verified. It's got all the balanced nutrition in it. It's even got apple cider vinegar that's been dried and put in it. And then they even test it for herbicide and pesticide residue. And I feel really comfortable, really good about that product, because what goes into the chickens is, you know, gonna go into us. So they really like it. But what I noticed was that a lot of the, I don't know if it's the minerals or what it is, but other than like the roasted soybeans and the corn and some of the other grains and stuff that are in it, there's like a lot of a powdery product. And when I would go and check at the end of the day or in the next day for the food, there was always like, I don't know, I bet a couple, 3 cups of powdery stuff. And so I just felt like I was wasting that because the birds weren't eating it. And I thought, you know what, if I just wet that down, that'll probably incorporate that in. So that's what I did, and I just used the hot water, and it kind of softens up the grains. You know, it's not the same as fermenting it, of course, but I think this is a lot easier, and it's still very beneficial, and it's less waste, and the birds love it. So this here is, my coop has 2 big doors that can open up, and I can get in there and clean and get access and rake the bedding out. But on the inside, I've got these trusses here that I built for the ceiling, and the chickens like to use that as a roost. And I also added a 2x3 post here that goes along the inside of the coop. But the thing I never planned on is the chickens are roosting, you can see up here, in this area. And this is the soffit area of the coop. I put this in for ventilation. And so this is 1/2-inch hardware cloth. And they love to go up here and sit in this area. And I think they just like it because of the breeze that it provides. And so one thing that you'll know and should know about winterizing your coop is if you get a winter hardy breed of chicken, a variety of chicken, they really don't require, you know, much extra care in the winter, except for they say it's having a wind chill is not good for them. So you want to keep them protected from the wind. And so I kind of designed my coop with that in mind. We have really strong winds out here from the west, and so I've got these doors that face the west, so I can get in and clean, but I didn't want a lot of exposure here for them to get drafts. And so that's why I did this soffit, because it's pretty subtle You know, the air can come in, go up through, and then it can actually go out the other side. And then I've also got vents up on the end, on the gables in here. And so the birds have good ventilation, but they don't have direct drafts blowing on them. So we'll see how that goes. The other thing you can look in here and see, and here's my current nest box situation right here. So here's what some of them laid today. They either go in this corner or they usually go over in this corner. Right over here you can see I built a nice bump out nesting box. They've never used it. I've put fake eggs in it. I've tried to put curtains up in here. I've had it divided. I've had it not divided. They don't like it. I can't figure it out. They love these two back corners. So I'm not going to fight them on that. But right now I've got about 24 birds, but only, let's see, I think about 12 of them are mature enough to lay. I've got about 8 more or 9 more hens that are my barn velders that probably sometime here in November or December should start laying. So my concern is if I only have these little areas back here, they're going to be fighting for space. Maybe they're going to be pecking eggs, and then they're going to create that bad habit of cracking the eggs. And it's just stressful, I think, for the birds to compete for space. So I'm thinking somewhere in here, I'm going to try some different nesting boxes. And what I'm thinking about is using these. I've seen some other folks use these melt crates, and you just cut the front of them off here, and then it's a pretty good dimension. And so what I'm thinking, let me switch this around, is if they like this end of the coop anyway, I'm thinking I might try to mount some nesting boxes so they still have the corners if they really want to use those, but maybe put something up a little higher, you know, or in the corner here and then up in here, just to give them some different options. So we're gonna see. So I'd like to do that today, and I think I might add a little bit more of a perch because my barn velders are the lowest in the pecking order, literally being the youngest, and also the smaller right now. The bigger birds don't let them come up here in this roost area. And so they're always kind of back over in this corner area here on the bottom of the coop. And I'm thinking as they get older, you know, maybe I should give them an opportunity for like something mid-level. So as they kind of climb that pecking order and they want to get off the ground of the coop, they have that as an option. So I'd maybe try to put something in here today as well. And then the last thing I'm going to do is put some lighting in, as I talked about. And over here, we're by the compost area that I put in. At this point, it's really more of a big leaf pile with some grass clippings in it. It's not a true compost pile. I guess you call it like, they would say a leaf mold. And so I went and got a bunch of leaves that I picked up from our yard. I went into our local town when they do their leaf collection, and I got some bags of leaves from people that live in town, and also from over at my mom and dad's house. But this will break down, it'll attract bugs. Chickens love to go through there and they'll find the bugs and root around. And then in the process, they're gonna help me by adding nitrogen when they drop their manure on here, their droppings. And when they scratch through it, they're gonna tear things up and help it break down quicker. Anyway, what we're gonna be doing is, I've got a timer, an inexpensive, this is an outdoor timer, just a mechanical one. I'm gonna put this in the garage on the outlet and plug an extension cord in it, and it's gonna run out. And this is on a shoestring now. We're on a real shoestring budget here. But I've just got one of these real simple work lights, a clamp light. Normally, I wouldn't advise this. I know people would say, and you might think this is gonna be a fire hazard, but I don't believe that's the case anymore when you use the LED lights. So I'm just getting a 60 watt daylight color bulb, but it's like an 18 watt or like a 12 watt equivalent, and these don't put off heat. So I think it's gonna be safe, and I'm just gonna clip it, I think, up in one of the peaks of the roof, and I'm gonna add that timer probably from like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then from 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. To give them, 10 to 12 hours of daylight like they normally get. And we'll keep track and see if that helps with the egg production. So that's what we're gonna do. So come along today and see how we get this done. Okay, so what I think I decided to do for adding an extra perch is I'm just gonna take this 2x3 and I've kind of cut it down to size here. I like this height because they've got really high perches up in the rafters, and I've got this perch I've kind of put hanging below it, even going a different direction. And this one is kind of mid-height. And so when the chickens have that pecking order, the ones that are the highest are the ones that are the more dominant. And so my little barn velders, I doubt, for the near future, are going to be allowed to get the penthouse suite up on the top floor. So I'm just going to give them an option. So if they want to get off the floor of the coop, they can hop up here, maybe even to give them access up to this header across the nesting box area, or it'll give them easier access to hop from the ground up to here and up to the higher ones, just to make it easier for the ones that maybe don't fly as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this one in. I'll go around to the other side here in a minute and screw that one in. Whew. The things we do for our chickens, right? All right, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. The sun's kind of at a weird angle in here. But what I'm gonna do, I think, is I think I'm gonna put this one milk crate up, and I'm gonna tie it in to these studs. That way it kind of divides up the corners that they like to use anyway, but gives them a third option of going up higher for those that might want to roost up higher. So we're gonna see if I can get that tied in here. We'll just add one more long one in just to be safe on the bottom. We wouldn't want one of our hens falling down while she's in the middle of laying. And I'll probably just put like a piece of padding up here, and then they can maybe put some of the wood shavings up here. And we'll see in a couple days if they like that as an option. Okay, this is kind of a tight squeeze in here, but I think what I'm going to do is take this clamp light and I'm going to try to put it somewhere here so it can shine down the length of the coop. And so I'm just going to tighten this down a little bit more. And what I'm thinking is I'm just gonna put that something like that. We'll head into the garage and I'll see if I can figure out how to set that timer. All right, let's take a look back here. You can see sun's really low in the sky. It's a little bit after 5, about let's see here. It's about almost 5:15. So we're gonna see if I got stuff right. Some of the chickens have already started to go in for the night. Hey, big boy. Hey, big boy. Let's see if we can take a look, see if this is set up correctly. Oh yeah, it's pretty nice. It's not like an obnoxious amount of light, which is nice. And it's out of the way here because nobody can really mess with this. They haven't, at least so far. And it's gonna shine up, kind of reflect off the white inside of the roof and kind of give them a nice little wake up. Well, we'll see how they do here tonight. So that's all for now. We'll check in tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll come out and see how things go in the morning. But you can see it's not bothering them. They're gonna check out the new roost. I tell you, chickens, I've learned, are very curious. You say, you know, cats are curious, chickens are curious. If there's anything new, they really want to know what it is. So they're gonna check out this light, they're gonna check out that new roost, hopefully the new nesting boxes, and we'll see. You know, maybe I'll set the camera in here for a little bit and let's just see if I close the door, what they'll do. What I'm going to do next is build a DIY heater for my outdoor chicken waterer. Now, I'm just sharing this with you. This is something that I'm going to do, and this is something I've not done before, and this is something that I am personally going to try out. So I'm not recommending this to you. I'm not an electrician at all, and I'm actually, what I'm doing is going against the manufacturer's instructions and intended use for this product, but it's just something that I feel like I want to try. The reason I'm not going with a product that I can just buy that's readily made is because I've seen a lot of bad reviews online in the comment areas that the product only lasted like 1 year or 1 season. So I'm going to try something a little different. So I am going to use heat cable. Heat cable is a cable that's got electrical elements in it that are sealed and weatherproofed in like a vinyl or plastic coating. This particular unit has a thermostat control that you keep up against the pipe, or in this case the water, and this senses the temperature. And once it gets, I think, 35 degrees, it's either 35 or 40, it kicks this on. So this only uses 5 amps of power. It's fairly low watt. And so I'm going to try this and basically wrap this around the bottom area of the waterer, figuring that this is where we really want it to stay thawed. I found a website where somebody else did this, and they kind of had their thoughts as the length of cable that you need. So I went with their recommendations for a 5-gallon system, and this is a 9-foot cable. So basically, to install this, I'm going to use a very good quality electrical tape that goes down to below 0 freezing and can handle temperatures above 200 degrees. So that is well within the range of my use for this cable and for outdoors. And then when this is wrapped here, I'm going to cover it with a non-flammable Class 1A product, this reflective insulation, and I'm just gonna basically make a jacket, and I'm gonna seal it with aluminum duct tape, and put that over top of this like a little sleeve, like a little jacket that'll sit outside. I'm putting this on a cement pad that will be outside, so it's not going to be around anything flammable. Obviously this isn't flammable, this is not flammable, and I'm actually going to run it on a GFCI cable, so if there's any type of circuit interruption, it'll shut the whole system off. So trying to be prudent and do this as safely as possible. The reason I think it's worth taking the risk is I'm hoping to get something that will last for a long time. And I know that this heat cable, this heat tape, is designed to go on pipes like under mobile homes, and it's meant to last for years in those conditions. And so I think this was like $26 or $27 at my home improvement store. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, I'm back. Finished that project up. I started yesterday or last night, and just wanted to show you how this turned out. You can see here, I think it's not pretty, but I think it's functional. So I've got that heat cable. It's spiraled all the way here from the top, or from the bottom up to the top. I was careful. You don't want the cables to touch each other or to cross over each other or to bend them in any way. So those are a nice gradual spiral, evenly spaced, applied with the good quality electrical tape. And then I took this reflective insulation, this non-flammable insulation, cut it and just made a real crude jacket, but that will help insulate this, protect it from the wind. And this should be down, this will actually protect down, I think, to like 30 below zero, if the instructions I remember correctly for that heat tape. And that seems pretty radical. I don't think it's ever gotten that cold here, but where we're at, it's extremely windy, and there's a lot of times where I'm sure with the wind chill, you know, it could be down to zero or a few degrees below zero, you know, for a few days during the winter time. And I'm okay with that because, you know, I'm okay with this being built to go lower than that, because my thinking is if it's capable of heating it when it's 30 below, that just means that this is going to be off a lot more than it's on. And I'm hoping that that will keep the power bill down. So anyway, I'll give you an update in future videos. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get this set up outside probably tomorrow morning. And in upcoming videos, we'll get some footage of it, and I'll give you a report and see how it works. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time here with the Hesitant Homesteader.